are forcing more risk onto yourself by bringing on the possibility of an Elder Drake into a turned game. And we've seen this happen twice already in our 3 days of the LPL. It's going to be a major issue, and maybe some teams are even going to play keep away for those Drakes. Like, if you don't take the 4th Drake, there is no Elder Drake.
That could be very much a thing. It's like, well, you know what, you take your 2nd one, you take your 3rd one, because right now no one has a 4th, and we get to the point where a 2nd Baron is better than a Dragon Soul because no Elder Drake has spawned. But Vici, they're going to feel pretty decent about that one. It started very strong. The mid game kind of went a bit muddy, but then the late game execution was all they kind of needed. So if they can fix that little bit in the middle, they'd be looking very, very good.
They dragged the game out long enough. A lot of the pick movements that they made in the bottom side were actually enough to drag the game out, where they made it into a one-team fight type of situation, one pick type of situation. And I think what BLG are going to be looking at in terms of their own VOD reviews is, how could we have pushed this a little bit further? Could someone else have went to the Mordekaiser and maybe secured an earlier kill? Or could we have helped the rotation, or maybe did the force where they got the TP out of Cube earlier on? Maybe they could have done that a little bit earlier. So a lot of things to review on BLG. And I've got to say, this is exactly how Fofo's game went with Coach Sim on JT as well. They dragged the games out so long, a lot of times their leads evaporated.
We are into the picks and bans for Game 3, the final game in this series for Vici versus BLG. As you can see, Aphelios, Lucian, and Akali banned by BLG, with the Olaf, the Pantheon, and the Rumble banned by Vici. And this time, they are first picking the Elise.
And this is a good game to see if BLG are actually going to trend towards the mid-fortune type of play. I guess not. Instant lock with the Kiana. We have to mention this is something that Fofo really likes to play as well. So maybe he's going to be the one pushing the temple this time with the Kiana that he got in Game 1.
Kiana going over to the side of Meteor in the last game. Wasn't amazing. Didn't have as much impact as we probably would have wanted him to have on it. But they still locked that one in. The Misfortune now locked in as well, this time for Jin Jiao. So might be seeing a different AD carry again for iBoy, who's had to flex his AD carry champ pool a little bit in this game.
Did go back to the Xayah in Game 2, but the Senna is still very much higher priority from what we've seen so far. And ooh, this is a fun one coming out from Forge. Forge actually went 10 kills and was flawless against Scout during the Masha Cup, a champion he's really good on.
I was going to say, I'm loving this little bit kind of adaptation coming out from BG in this series. They are prioritizing the jungle and a solo lane in their first rotation of picks, because they're not letting it just get down to the point of you're just not going to get a good lane. You're not going to have to be left up with just an Ornn. And I quite like this idea coming out from them, because it means that they do have some kind of flexibility when throwing their, second phase of bans out.
Yeah, double flex is very powerful in today's matchups, and it's the main reason why you see something like Lucian and Akali being banned out. Not necessarily because they're amazing in one single lane, but because they can be everywhere. And VG Gaming playing around that fact that, we could be seeing Q, but maybe even picking up the Aurelia as well.
LeBlanc locked in here, though, for the side of BLG, so that almost certainly means that Kiana is going back into the hands of Meteor. Again, didn't have a bad game, didn't have an amazing game, so it's kind of a see what he can do differently coming into Game 3. Nautilus and Mordekaiser banned by Vici and BLG, respectively. We'll see what the final bans are going to be on either side. Do they think that it's going to be a top lane or mid lane Aurelia? That's kind of the big question right now for BLG.
I would say just take out the Aatrox. Actually Renekton. But what I was thinking about is just taking away strong picks that can be blind picket in the top side. So Mordekaiser and Renekton both fit that bill. Renekton very difficult to dive in these situations. And also they already have the Elise, so they don't want the tower dive potential to go back the other way. Now the question for Vici is, what type of support do they ban out? There's actually very few S-tier supports in the meta right now. I would say just the tank ones are probably the best. You have Nautilus, Leona, and then probably Braum being the third most picked.
I'm going to go with the Camille instead. Kicking did have a pretty decent game. Eventually became just such a monster on that pick, and we'll see now what BLG want to go for. It's probably going to be the Thresh or the Braum realistically.
Still like the Braum a little bit more. It's very difficult to get away from the Braum. So if the Leona engages and she doesn't instantly find the kill there, it's very easy for the lane to then turn it around. So do still prefer the Braum, even though Nami has been given massive buffs.
Don't think we'll see Nami for a while though. Just with the way the meta is, with people being able to delete squishies. Don't think we're going to be seeing her anytime soon. But iBoy hovering the Kai'Sa did see that relatively recently enough, but Kai'Sa just not in a great spot right now, but will be locked in.
Vici are going to have to change their game plan. I think they're going to have to trend more towards the mid lane rather than anywhere else. Kaisa Leona, great burst, level 6. But before that, you're really going to be struggling in this lane.
See now what the final pick is here for Vici. Got a bit of time before they need to lock that one in. Plenty of options available in the Tuel. You mentioned the Aatrox, the Ornn, obviously what they're hovering right now. There's a Gangplank, which we saw earlier as well. BLG will have the counter pick. They are going to see it going into the Ornn. So Ornn, pretty damn safe, pretty damn, you know, kind of central tank kind of territory. But we did see Cube not really have a great time in game 1 with it, so I want to see something different.
We are still going to get the Ornn back, and what I can say about this is pretty smart because the jungler is already going to be coming in with 80 damage, and it's really hard to force a favorable matchup, even if you have the Fiorna versus the Ornn. So you can see BLG transitioning away from that. They're going to go for more of an early game bot lane, dump all of your ultimates there, focus type of team composition. A switch up coming in from both sides, much more team fight heavy from Vici Gaming is something that they showcase they can do very well in the Masha Cup. And for BLG, we're going to see them finally trying to prioritize Jin Zhao's lane.
And for Fofo as well, he is on a carry. He is on someone that it's not Orianna duty. It's not something that you just have to sit back and hope that, you know, everything goes well. You are on a LeBlanc. If you need to make something happen, you can.
Yeah. So he probably watched too much of Lane Kingdom from Azale yesterday. It's like, yes, I can match Rookie. I can play this Orianna.
How to beat Rookie. Every gold and silver player was like, I could do that. Because I know I was, and I'm just barely, I got plat 4.
That's nice.
It's all right. I haven't done my placements this year, though.
It's a pocket pick for Fofo as well, but I think he's much better on something that can impact the game early rather than relying on scaling later on.
We'll see exactly how it all fans out. BLG had game 2, had a clean 2-0 within their grasp, but unfortunately was swiped away from them by Vici Gaming. Vici with new iBoy, new Coach Koma, new everything almost at this stage, looking to try and take their first step towards really cementing themselves back as a top team in the LPL in Chinese League of Legends. And looking at the two team comps as they came in, what's your bet?
I favor Vici.
Yes.
In this draft.
This is the first time.
Yeah, I know. I actually like this team fight centric draft. I feel like iBoy is going to have that sort of edge over Jin Zhao when it comes down to it. And BLG, even though they did play very fast and aggressive in the Masha Cup, this is not a style that is natural to them. This is something that is very much new and very much an addition with Fofo coming on the roster.
We are into the final game. We're going to be jumping onto the Rift for the last time for these two teams. Both looking to start their season off in the best way possible with a win. All comes down to this best of one. LEC style, as we're jumping straight in. I will say I noticed a distinctive lack of BLG this time around. Game 2 was like, yeah, go BLG. That time I was like, oh, BLG. BLG, cool.
They're a massive streaming service, and a lot of times they give out pretty good gifts for their fans. I got a couple keychains from them as well, so you know they always do a bit of a fan bribing there at the arena.
I think most of the teams are pretty good at that, though.
Yeah.
Rogue Warriors had a cat yesterday.
They just brought a live cat in a Pokeball there.
Oh no, they brought a cat to their like fan store. It was really cute.
I like Persians.
I like them a lot. But Rogue Warriors is yesterday, BLG Vici is today. Have a look at both junglers kind of getting the blue buff star. 4 is just going to jump straight onto Fofo, and you can see he was already pretty much anticipating this. Picked up the corrupting pot just to make sure he could sustain and trade as equally as possible.
Yeah, Aurelia level 1 is definitely one of the strongest champions. You get your 40% extra attack speed by getting all of your Ionia Fervor, and you can stack that with Blade Surge. So you see this very common in the early trades. And also because of BLG's start in the bottom side, I do believe that Vici got a push lead here and are threatening level 2 already.
Always got to be wary of the level 2 coming in from the Leona. Isn't going to get it just yet, though, as it had to go off in war, just in case. But again, see exactly where this Elise goes. Chieftain had pretty okay game in game 2 with that Elise, so I'm excited or curious to see where he brings it from there. Meteor had also had a pretty decent performance. Definitely not as convincing as his first game, but still doing pretty averagely well.
I think we're going to have a pretty cold opening here. Not a lot going to happen unless in the mid lane. That's the lane where Aurelia can get punished relatively early on. And we've actually seen a lot of Knight play this matchup, the Aurelia versus the LeBlanc. And he gave up a couple of tricks on stream on how to outplay the LeBlanc at this point. You do have to set up your flawless duet in a perpendicular position and try to catch the original position that LeBlanc distorts in, and also her end area as well. Try to hit both of them, and that's how you can find those extra stacks for your Blade Surge.
This has been my TED Talk. Well, sorry, let me rephrase that. This has been your TED Talk. So we see Meteor just letting Cube know that he's here. And he is very much aware that Cube is trying to push into this Gangplank. Gangplank, though, versus the Ornn should be relatively safe. Didn't really get to touch on it at all, but the Gangplank isn't really there to win against the Ornn. He's just there to basically add the Cannon Barrage across lanes. He's not really going to die at any point. Or rather, shouldn't die at any point. Better way to put it.
And the game's shaping up exactly as we expected. Pretty slow going for both sides. Talking about the support matchup, this is one where Leona actually does find it quite favorable against the Braum. She's going to be a lot tankier just because of that Aftershock, and all of her armor and magic resistance do fall on herself, so they're not spread across 2 targets. It's one where if Leona engages on the middle of the lane, she can typically find a small HP lead over the Braum. It's just about getting out after that point, though.
There is no getting out with a Leona. It's only go in. See Fofo just pushing into this mid lane. Like I said, fairly cold open for these guys. Forge more than happy to let this lane push up so he can start getting a reset of his own. First dragon is going to be that Infernal. As we see Chieftain roaming up here. Is going to be spotted very briefly there on a ward. Don't know if Kingen saw it though. Is seeing him now, as that is a very defensive ward just being pushed in right there. You see him now just trying to jump in on top of Kingen, but unfortunately for the side of Vici, Gangplank's incredibly safe with those oranges.
Yep, not really going to affect that, and we're going straight into the level 6 now. Now, the dynamics change quite a bit here. Number 1, Forge, I think, is going to have a lead just in the roaming department. His ultimate kill potential is going to be a lot higher onto the likes of Meteor, and I do favor the 2v2 after this point on. And the other point is that we're going to see a lot more action happening because BLG will want to leverage that Cannon Barrage coming in from the top lane and try to make the bot lane kill happen.
BLG are fine with this right now. It's a very slow, like you said, very unhappening start of the game. As we see now, Meteor and Shinmo just sitting around in this mid lane. We are going to see them jumping straight on top of him. He flashes away after getting exhausted. Will he be able to stay away? No, he won't, but they will not trade off onto Shinmo. He gets himself just out in time. That is going to be first blood over to BLG. Cannon Barrage goes down. Cube has got the call of the Forge God. Is going to be able to use it. Gets the knock up. There's the heal. Ooh. Not quite able to get the damage. Not enough there in the clap. But speaking of clap, here comes Meteor. There's no real vision here for Cube. Meteor and Fofo coming in. TP going to be used as well. Meteor and Kingen just going to try and coast him around as they get the stun off. Forge going to be getting his own stun off as well with the flawless duet. And Forge, oh no, buddy. That's a tilt port.
Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. Straight out of a kill into the mid lane. He goes top and really no reason to be there like that. Didn't anticipate that Fofo would hang around on the map and roam with them too.
That is very, very unfortunate. And Forge, again, kind of giving away these little, small advantages to the side of BLG. Not really what we were kind of hoping for this player. Definitely needs to see himself shore up those issues and bring himself back in line with the rest of his team, because that is 2 deaths very quickly. Now, the positive is, side of Vici did pick themselves up an Infernal Drake, but even then, you're still looking at a couple of question mark pings on the map there.
And this is going to continue. If you look at the summoners here, Forge no longer has his flash. He's basically a sitting duck whenever Meteor wants to pick him off. He can't really adventure past his own river at this point. This is going to be very scary, and if you look at the wave right now, it is pushing in towards Fofo. So I think Fortune's going to have a quick shove and just go back.
Got to reset it as best he can, get himself back onto the map with any kind of item or two. You can see BLG just happy enough going with this kind of style. They know that the bot lane isn't the focus right now. They know that Jin Zhao, like you said in game 1 with the Misfortune pick in general, is just an artillery cannon. As long as she is safe, you are fine. And there is no Braum this time around to really stop her. That means that Solar Flare or Xenoblade is going to have to be on point from the side of Maestro.
We have seen this matchup a couple times before in the Demacia Cup, and what tends to happen is iBoys tries to find the W onto Misfortune and just goes backline and assassinate her. However, this time around we are seeing Jin Zhao with the cleanse, so playing another very defensive bottom lane. This is not exactly what I expected. I thought BLG was going to try and focus a little bit harder on that lane, but seems that they just have most of their eggs into the Fofo basket once more.
So far, so good for the side of BLG. They're definitely reaping the rewards of having themselves use that, use the Fofo basket as such. As you see Meteor now, just trying to find another move. Maestro's on the top side of the map as they are resetting. Looks like the Rift Herald is probably going to be the first move here. We're seeing that Vici, despite losing those 2 kills very early on, they're still looking for that same tempo that they had in game 2, where they took the Dragon, quickly rotated their bot lane, took the Rift Herald, and then went again. As we see Fofo stunned up, gets the Xenoblade down. Oh, that's a bad use of the ult there. Vanguard's Age does not land. There's the Cannon Barrage as well. Maestro just about gets out with the help of a heal from iBoy, but a couple of ultimates down. Not really the best situation there for the side of Vici. They don't really gain much.
The big one still left up is for Cube and his Call of the Forge God, so they're still looking to push this one a little bit by Vici.
Cube, what are you doing? As I say that though, LeBlanc gets caught out on the backside. It was all an elaborate bait. Now he goes in. There's the Call of the Forge God. Gonna land in. Gonna go in as well with the Void Seeker as well. Try and get as much damage as they can with that Misfortune ultimate. Forge is separated from his team, will not be able to get out. The flash in for the Misfortunate as well means that she's going to be able to take down everybody. Cube is also just trying to run away. Double kill for Jin Zhao. And BLG just able to just race through this Vici lineup.
Happens to be a 4-for-1, and the MVP for me in that single fight has to be Kingen, landing his barrels on 3 people inside of the river, slowing everyone, and that leaves way for the Gun-Ho-Ho Pirate combo to mow everyone down.
Thought it was a bait for Vici, but Vici were actually baiting themselves. It was 5D chess. They picked themselves up Fofo, and then from there, like you said, the AoE damage coming out from the side of BLG, just so much from the pirate duo of Misfortune and Gangplank.
I didn't mind the idea so much, but I do believe that they didn't actually manage to stop Jin Zhao by any meaningful... Oh, and that was actually a 5-man. Never mind about 3. That was the entire team taking the hit.
Everyone getting peppered on the backside, which means that Forge and iBoy just could not find themselves a way back up that ramp. And then the rest is history. Whew.
That was not a bad idea from Vici, but severely outplayed in the trades.
Like I said, it caught me off guard. They got the very edge of the cocoon landing onto Fofo, which kind of set off a weird chain reaction of fights. But Kingen, with that Gangplank, able to really come out strong in that sense. And the Rift Herald does go over as well from the side of BLG. And right now we're going to see now exactly how they want to transition this, how they want to look for any kind of extra advantages. Dragon up in 40 seconds. Right now Vici, they're falling behind again, just like in game 1. We'll see exactly how they kind of look for. I think right now BLG, they should be feeling pretty damn comfortable. But overall, Vici is not really finding themselves any kind of advantages. They picked off Fofo. They didn't really look for anything else after that. I think they were kind of surprised with how they found Fofo as well in that jungle.
I think the idea was definitely good, but let's see if Kingen can actually escape from this one.
Oh, it's going to be very difficult. They lair the CC very nicely, but as I say that, he tick booms down. And that is going to be the Cannon Barrage used there to no avail. They do get themselves a nice clean pick, but that means Mountain is pretty much free to take, and so is bot lane.
And we have to notice, this is the overloading situation that we're talking about. If you have true damage, you're always going to win out on these trades like this. So Vici are not even going to try. They're instead transitioning over for a pick onto mid lane. Can't find it, and with the kill trade plus the turret, I would have to say BLG actually still come out slightly ahead in this one.
Only got the 1 plate in top side, 4 plates in bot, shared between Meteor and Fofo. And now Dragon is the call for both sides. 2,000 gold lead here, though, for BLG. They got themselves a little bit of a reset as well. This Misfortune is getting pretty damn big as well. If she can get a good bullet time, you can see the pirate combo, like you said, the yo-ho-ho, just working out so damn well for BLG.
I love pirates. They should be in more games.
They weren't around for that long. Like the actual like pirates. I mean, like there are still pirates, but like not that we like, you know, Yar. Like the Yar pirates that we think about.
No contest coming in from Vici whatsoever.
I don't think they can, to be perfectly honest. Right now, it's very much a dragon you have to just concede. You got the first one, well done to you. It's down an Ocean Drake, some more honey fruits, more bushes. Less places for you to go, as I say, Jin Zhao. Got to get hit by the Xenoblade. They jump straight in. There's the cleanse, but it's not enough. Shut down going over there to iBoy. And that's the kind of pick-off you need if you're Vici.
It's very sweet positioning coming in from Maestro, just forcing him to the side. And even with the cleanse, that wasn't enough. Had the Kaisa coming in right after that with the Killer Instinct. So well played there. And this is what we wanted to see from Vici. A lot more initiation coming in from Maestro this game.
See what they go for it. Oh, nice little steal there. Void Seeker going to steal that one there. And right now, this is the beauty of the Ocean Drake that you can do. Like you were saying, you can... Oh, the Xenoblade lands. They land the CC covering down on top of him, and they take him down. Fofo, you got to respect the CC chain, man. You just saw your AD carry get taken down.
I don't know what to say about that one. Just walking in again and again. And BLG do actually have the tools to check this. They just need to wait for the members and be a little bit more patient, you know. Shimo was already on his way in this play, and it seems like they were getting a little bit angsty just to make sure the push in the top lane wasn't going to take down that tower.
Will not lose the tower just yet, but all three lanes being pushed in there as we see 6 turret plates to 2 in favor of BLG, but the gold still sits at about 1,500 gold. Those extra few kills, those 1 or 2 little small tidbits of CS going in favor of iBoy as well, just mean that this game isn't quite done yet. They're not quite out of it just yet. And the scaling is very even, in my opinion, over across the board. It's not a real kind of clear winner as such. It kind of depends on how the team fight pans out.
Yeah, I do like Vici's comp a little bit more even in the late game just because of the ease of execution. This is you set your line straight up, you do normal initiations going in with Cube, his Ornn, and you can just take the fight, roll the fight from start to finish. You can go from front line to back line quite easily. BLG's not going to be able to stand up to that one. They don't really have a legitimate front line to keep everyone safe here. So if Vici can get to objectives first without anyone getting picked off, they should have a sizable advantage, even with the gold deficit they have right now.
A bit of a gold deficit. You can see Aurelia with the 3 saddest items in the game. Almost a Triforce, as I like to call it. It's kind of one of those moments of just, God damn it, I was so close. Like 300 gold off, or even less actually, but
333. They kept that in the game.
333, but you never. It used to be 33, didn't it? Like years ago.
Oh, that
was a while ago now.
That's a little bit too low.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
and it used to be. It used to be Zeal as well. It used to not be Stinger.
That's true. They didn't really change the color for the Triforce. You'd think the blades would look, you know, less yellowy.
What would Freak do then? Freak wouldn't know what to do.
Oh,
his entire brand is that one image.
Did you see the new set video? Oh my god.
I have not. I'm very excited to see him though. I'm excited to play him.
Azale said it best. He put too many puns and it was set up for failure.
Oh dear. Dear Lord. Q now going in on top of King and forces out the cannon barrage.
Doesn't flash away from it.
He's actually going to try and keep going on top of this, though. Will get the knock up. They're trying to keep him going. This very even fight here. Don't know if you really want to go for it, but Chieftain's going to try and wrap around and try and see if he can get this. But Kingen now knows he's not safe underneath this turret.
He's going to try to clear the wave and run away with the extra movement speed.
And iBoy, he's nearly there. He's almost caught him, but there's the flash. But now Kingen, there's just too many people from Vici. Goodbye, good sir. This is the day you did, in fact, catch Pirate Kingen. He made it hard though.
Yeah,
he made a good effort.
The entire team from BLG is now rotated towards the bottom lane, so this should mean a free top side. They're going to push the wave very deep. Someone has to respond to that one, and Vici should get a lead here. grouping up on this next Drake fight. It's going to be a Ocean Drake, but this is what we were talking about. Using that front-to-back teamfight advantage that they have a good setup.
With the Dragon spawning now as well in 30 seconds, you have Kingen, but you've no flash on your top laner. Cannon Barrage should just be about up by the time it is ends up spawning, so they should still have that kind of AoE ho-ho-ho, as you like to call it. But that actually sounds a little bit more like Santa than it does a pirate.
Yeah, I did realize. I'm not exactly sure what pirates.
I did it incorrect. That was me. That was my bad. It's yo-ho-ho. Need
to work up on that pirate lore.
Yeah. Didn't think I'd need it, but, you know, life throws weird things at you.
Strange places indeed.
You see now, and this is pretty much going to be a free Dragon right now. Cube's actually being collapsed upon. He should be taken out almost immediately as he's just got no magic resistance whatsoever. Does get the Call of the Forge God out there straight away. They're trying to burst down the Dragon as much as they can. They haven't got the stun, though. And the pink ward at the back means that they are able to get Chieftain out. Dragon goes over to Vici.
Good play by both sides. Vici got what they came here for. Despite, you know, what they actually wanted to do, they can still stack up this Drake Soul and still force BLG to commit to a full-on team fight relatively early in the mid-game.
Able to defend mid as well. You can see Rift Herald is going to be the next port of call for both these sides. Still 6 seconds on Ornn. Cube has got TP available to him. So we see that double pink ward, or double vision ward, I should say, in that bush, just trying to keep BLG as hidden as possible.
Yeah, a little unfortunate on the timings coming in for BLG. Fofo does need to go back for a big buy. Gets the blasting wand, heading straight back out.
Did you see that? Chieftain went to auto attack it, and just as his auto attack hit it, it got the second little bit of link, so it went back down to 1.
Yeah.
It was just very unfortunate. And right now, if you're feeling, you know, you're looking at Vici's items, you're feeling pretty good. You got the upgraded Iceborne Gauntlet, you've got the Stork Shoes and Runic Echoes, and now a Rylai's Crystal Scepter onto Chieftain. Triforce finished up, Guinzoos, and you've also got the stacking Manamune. You have items, you have ways of getting into this fight. You just need to choose the correct fight.
It's all about the setup coming in from them. And I just wanted to point out something that, outside of Shelly just dying.
No! That was so sad.
It was. Hearing that creak and
the
juices come out.
Oh, she is a void monster, I suppose.
We still have sympathy for void monsters.
Do we?
I love monsters. I love Cho'Gath. That's my
true.
first mains. Anyway, what I wanted to say was that I always feel bad about Kai'Sa because usually her items don't get upgrades from Ornn. That's a great combo nonetheless, but if you're a Kai'Sa player, don't bug your top lane Ornn for item upgrades. He just doesn't have them for the Rage Blade or the Manamune.
Might have them for your IE super late in the game. Maybe. But, as you say, not something that she can get on super early on. It's not that big of a deal, realistically. She only gets about 1,000 gold worth of stats, so it's not that important as such. But coming into the 21-minute part of the game, we see BLG rotating towards this top side, while Vici focusing on that bot. Looks like a trade of turrets.
Ornn's already stacking up to be completely unkillable. 2 upgraded Masterwork items here, and BLG don't really have any sustained AP damage whatsoever to take him down. It's going to be very difficult, so a lot of the onus is going to fall towards Fofo and towards Meteor to really get rid of iBoy and make sure if they're trading backlines at the very least, they have a chance in the teamfight.
These mid lane turrets still standing on the tier 1 side for both these teams. I gotta admit, Chieftain, he's slowly come into this series. He's definitely become a much more consistent player to what I would have imagined he was at the start of the season. It definitely didn't look great from game 1, but he hasn't let that tilt him, and he's now looking fairly decent in my opinion.
And that's an interesting buy. You don't typically see the Elises go for the Rylai's. I think what he's thinking about is just trying to put more pressure onto Kingen. They know that he's a rookie player coming in onto BLG, and it does have a tendency to overpush. So with that Rylai's, they're going to be able to find more kills with the Ornn into those side lanes.
We do have a pause. Looks like it's going to be from the Vici Gaming side. Hopefully that gets sorted out very, very soon. But Yeah, I just on your point as well on the Elise, I think it is either to kind of put pressure onto Kingin to force him to get his orange out of him much quicker. Also, I think as well, this is the iBoy kind of, if Kai'Sa gets the super late game, she will shred.
Yep.
So if you are able to consistently slow people down, give her the space and the time that she needs, iBoy should be able to rip through these team fights along with Aurelia diving on the backside. So I actually quite like the adaptation. I think it makes a lot of sense in this particular game, especially considering, like you said, the side of BLG don't really have a front line.
Yeah, and I also think the reason is that she's going to keep herself out of just being sniped off by Fofo. That's going to be an important part of how this matchup forms up. However, talking about iBoy being the most fed member on the team, it always creates a little bit of tension for iBoy fans out there. This is part of the reason you love him, because sometimes he does go in very, very early on and has cost Vici a couple games already in the Demacia Cup. I want to see if there's going to be another voice that pulls him back. It used to be Mako when he was on EDG. I wonder if Maestro can do the trick this time.
Right now, we're at a pretty even state of the game, I think it's fair to say. Who do you feel is coming into this, after this pause, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more, feeling like they have the tools available to them to win this?
I've been saying this from draft. I definitely favor Vici's draft now. It's going to be hard for Kingin to even push Ornn out of the lane at this point. Even with his, armor ignoring barrels, it's very difficult to cut through a frozen fist and also a Hailforge cape. That's the amount of armor on those two items and the additional passive that gives Ornn free bonus armor and magic resist makes it almost impossible. So we've been seeing Kingin, I'm sorry, not Kingin, we've been seeing Cube with the help of Elise. Whenever the two are together, they're willing to push very deep into BLG territory.
I still think that this Fortune is going to end up getting some crazy ass engage. I don't know why, it's just in my head. I feel like it is something that's going to happen.
It could, but they're going to need a lot of help to make it happen. You're talking about Solar Flare that can disregard any terrain. Brahm's not going to be able to stop that one.
That's true, but I have seen in the LPL people miss Solar Flares on stationary targets. So I'm just going to reserve that from my own judgment.
That did happen.
It did. It did happen at a Dragon Pit. It wasn't even like she just stopped and then you just anticipated. Like, she was stopped for about a second. I still think that, for BLG, though, the style of game, like we said earlier, they are a Korean-style team in a sea of team fighting LPL teams.
That is true.
And I like that coming into this because it means that they won't take a fight unless they know they can 100% win it. Now, it slightly bit them back, yes, in the last game. We can kind of blame that on Kingin's BM just because, that's what Superstition does to you. But overall, I still think that BLG have the tools available to them should they find the opportunities to really bring this going back into their own favor.
It's not Superstition if it happens every time.
That's a fact at that stage. But ladies and gentlemen, we are of course back onto the Rift. You can see BLG using the pause to re-energize themselves, revitalize themselves, and get themselves some decent vision control around this topside river in the mid lane. It's going to be dragon spawning in 40 seconds, and you can imagine that BLG will want to try and deny that as much as they possibly can to make sure that Vici don't get to that coveted 4th Elder stack.
Do see BLG coming out very strong after getting a quick back onto Fofo. He's already going for the double magic penetration. So he's got his eyes stuck onto iBoy. He knows how he needs to win this fight. He pretty much has to sneak behind enemy lines and make it happen for BLG at this point. So on the flip side, I do expect iBoy to start trending towards maybe the Maw. We've seen some Wit's End as well, but I do like the Maw a little bit more. It prevents you from being taken out right after the fight begins.
Speaking of potential fight beginning, iBoy just got the upgrade on the Mana Mune. So he has got the Mirror Mana, which means he's getting a lot more damage. Also has the Rapid Fire Cannon for a little bit of extra safety, and of course that extra bit of crit. He's in a very powerful position. He's full item ahead of his counterpart in Jin Zhao. This Dragon is the next port of call. All 5, they jump in, they're trying to get the ultimates down. They're not quite able to get it. They get him eventually, and that's going to be the call of 4 God, but only to try and disengage. There's the Solar Flare. It's not going to be able to catch out much, but it's going to be able to slow down the rest of G Gaming. Double kill for Misfortune. She goes in as well. The Aurelia is dead. There's no more damage. It needs to be all on this Elise. She just hasn't got the health bar, and now Cube is all by himself. He flashes away, and BLG find the fight.
BLG finally get the pick that they're looking for. That was their only chance to win a team fight at this Drake pit, and they found it without iBoy using his ultimate or getting his flash up. A great pick coming in from Meteor.
That was just clean as you like, and that is why Meteor is considered the star of this team. He saw an opportunity, a split-second decision, flash, in with the Qs to stun him up, and then immediately with the ultimate for everyone to follow it.
Such a well-done play right there. Vici had eyes on Fofo the entire time. Look at the ward around blue. They knew Fofo was there, and that's why they ventured over. Even though the stun did not actually land, from the ultimate, the damage was enough from Jinjiao to finish up that kill. And you can see, without iBoy, there isn't enough damage to take this fight anymore on the side of Vici.
Chieftain tries so very hard. You can see how tantalizingly close he is to killing off 2 people, maybe even being able to try and kite out Fofo, but at that stage, just not enough. And that's going to be 2 dragons apiece, and he 3,000 gold lead in favor of BLG.
They also reset the Dragon Soul timer here, a very important win coming in from BLG. There's going to be less threat coming in from later Elder Drakes that they're going to force them into 5v5 team fights, and also, of course, the Ocean Dragon Soul. However, we did see Cube last a very, very, very long time in that fight. There was 4 people wailing onto him, and he was still able to walk away.
I suppose we're kind of seeing the pros and cons of both teams in that particular team fight, whereas if Vici lose iBoy, they just do not have the damage to continue a fight going. But on the other side, BLG just haven't got that much burst to take down such a huge tanky boy that Cube is. So see now they're both A-ramming it right now. Here's the call of the Forge God coming in, going to try and find anybody but straight through the goalposts of Kingen and Fofo. Means that's a big AoE ultimate down, and now Vici needs to be very careful.
I still like the idea, though. If Vici have their formation set, they can be super aggressive in chasing down these teamfight opportunities and these engages, because, you know, iBoy's going to be safe. Everyone's going to have eyes on iBoy at that point. There's going to be no brushes that they can find themselves caught out for. So I do like Vici's ideas of just forcing out, you know, potentially summoners and trying to go for these engages.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained, but it looks like this mid lane turret will be the focus for BLG. They will take it down. That opens up the map a little bit more. Those extra bushes on the sides there, you will now see becoming a little bit more of a nuisance for Vici.
What you're going to see in the later team fights is what JD Gaming has been doing with LeBlanc all of this Damasha Cup and in the LPL new season. Fofo's going to be coming in from a different angle, or he could just go in like that one. But what's happening?
What better angle than straight into you, but right in front of your face? As if you say that, though, Chieftain goes up, but they're not going to feel confident enough to try and keep chasing him. They didn't have full vision of exactly where everybody was, so nice, wise decision coming in here from the side of BLG, but that Baron is very, very closely becoming the biggest focal point for both these teams.
That was very close for Chieftain, because if you repel up, the tether still stays on you. So you're going to be stunned when you come back down on that one. He has to be incredibly safe, and we're seeing why that Rylai pick was in the inventory of the Chieftain here. Just gives him a little bit of error room to survive.
Room for error.
Room for error.
There you go. See, you teach me player names, I teach you English.
Oh, so sweet
yeah,
of you,
I know.
Penguin.
We learn from each other, you know? But after a hectic few minutes, we have started to slow down quite a bit, and you can see both sides just happy enough to pick up an item or two, pick up a bit of sideway farm. No one's really going to look for anything until about a minute's time. Minute 10, I'm going to go ahead and say, and that's when the next Ocean Drake spawns, and that's when both sides are going to try and want to get that spawn of the Dragon Soul on their side, on their advantage.
Some fun item choices here coming from iBoy. He wanted to pick up the QSS first, and then just thinking about it, I'm good enough. I'm going to go for the BF sword.
I did see that, actually. Yeah, it looked like it was going for defense. It's like, wait, who am I? I'm iBoy. I don't do defense. I go straight in, and if I win, I'm a god. If I lose, well, then I guess I'm self-made building an IE on Rek'Sai.
Who did that?
Self-made built an IE.
Okay.
It had 25% crit chance, and the idea behind it is that in one of your three off your when you're unburrowed hits a crit, you can one-shot an AD carry.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately for him, he did not crit on any single one of his hits and ended up dying. But the theory is there. That's just a theory.
Iwood could be also going for the GA, and I think this is actually a decent scenario for it. Most of the times, AD carries don't go for GA because they're the last one to die, but in this instance, no one's going to kill the Leona.
Oh, that's unfortunate there. No flash available. Cube taking a bit of chunk off him as well, down to about 3/4 HP. And I honestly think that's Vici going to have to concede this dragon now. They can't really fight it.
I took a lot of damage there, and more importantly, they did lose a flash from Leona, so it's going to be a lot harder to engage or stop Jin Zhao at this point.
That's going to be the Dragon Soul available. It's going to be the Ocean Dragon Soul, which means that every time you get a hit off of ability or a auto attack, you heal a little bit. Very handy.
Still need one more Drake for that to be the case, and Chieftain's in a good position to find the catch.
Does get a lot of damage down onto Meteor. That means they're going to have to force him with Forge. They're going to go in to get the GA going. There's the call of Forge God. Doesn't land onto anybody. It's going to be a golden on the top side as well. But Forge needs to back away. He needs to try and find himself getting out of this. But the bullet time is huge. And it's just wrecking across the side of Vici. And they are on full retreat. Fofo untouched, full mana. But he thinks otherwise of it and goes straight towards that Baron.
I really don't like Forge's decision to actually chase up the ramp like that. There's a game plank and Misfortune in plain sight. That had to be a mistake coming in from their part, and it forces Vici to engage up very unfavorable circumstances, giving away the Baron.
Baron goes over, 2 kills as well. And right there is those little small mistakes are why Vici almost pretty much lost the first game. Is those small decisions is why the BLG were able to snowball it. And you can see right here, it looks fantastic, but then they just overcommit.
Yeah, it was a very good find on their part, but honestly, getting the GA away from Meteor should have been enough right here. Look at where Forge is. He's among 4 BLG members, and it's so damn easy to open up. Jin Zhao even has the chance to wait for the Leona ultimate to come out before he lets loose.
And even, if anything, fair enough, you went that far ahead, but you then bait the rest of your team to kind of follow up that ramp. And like you said, you have a Gangplank, you have a Misfortune, you have so much AoE that can just come back at your team. It's just not worth going up for it, and they get very heavily punished. And now we're seeing a 6,000 gold lead for BLG with the Baron. And they're going to be looking to push down these lanes and really, you know, push home this narrative that they are better than Vici.
That should have been the perfect scenario for Vici, but now they're looking at a very difficult team fight, even with their composition, because there's no summoners left on Iboy anymore.
Keep himself alive, he had to just try and use absolutely everything, including the kitchen sink. And you can see there, a Mortal Reminder picked up there by Jin Zhao means that his ultimates are going to be shredding through these team fights. Even with Cube able to have that amount of, you know, armor and health on him, he's still not going to stand a chance.
And on the other hand, Iboy is going to go for full damage. He's going to try and carry himself through all of his team fights, not actually going for any of the GAs or defensive items that we were looking for.
2 cannon minions stacked now on this bot side, and they're going to keep pushing in on top of this bot lane turret. Forge is still up on top side. I think he's just trying to keep himself there to try and maybe bait out a bit of a fight, maybe a bit of a wraparound, but at the same time, it's just not really going to work out for the side of Vici. They need to call him back, because otherwise they're going to lose another inhibitor, or they're going to lose their first inhibitor.
Yeah, they definitely are going to lose this tower. There's no way they can stop this one in time, and Forge indeed comes back after pushing all that way, but I don't think he actually did anything there.
Didn't get enough damage down, and this mid lane turret now down very, very low. It's going to be Fofo distorting in, auto-attacking and distorting out, and that means that the base has been cracked open in mid and bot lane. Iboy taking so much damage. Fofo able to bring him down just a little bit more. He has no flash. He's just about outside of the range of the cannon barrage, but that is almost certainly going to mean 2 inhibitors get cracked open now as BLG take control.
Gotta say, that was a bit of a miss from Kingen. I'm pretty sure he could actually have killed Iboy if he positioned that correctly. The center of it has a 60% slow, and that could have finished the game right there. But fortunately enough for Iboy, he does manage to walk out of the center of the Death's Daughter.
And now we're looking at a very different game from about 5 minutes ago. One overextension from Vici has opened up the floodgates for BLG, and they are not relenting. A minute until that dragon is spawning, and you can tell that's exactly what BLG are going to go for. Again, slow, methodical, LCK-esque in just making sure they tick all their boxes, cross all their T's, and dot all their I's.
I would say this is a much more important soul on the side for Vici compared to BLG. They actually have a sustained team fight while BLG are just trying to burst down their backline a little. So I think overall BLG are going to play this to try and deny and also try to find a chance to catch Iboy out without his flash.
iBoy has got that IE, as well as the Masterworks forwards on top of it, so he is as strong as he could ever want to be at this point in the game. Maybe one more item, but arguably not going to be that much of a difference. There is a stopwatch, though, on 2 carries for the side of BLG, so they know if they get caught out, they can reposition and maybe look for a re-engage on the fight. Gangplank also picking up that IE as well, so you got a lot of damage coming in here. Maestro just soaking in that damage, taking him and Chieftain down to about just over halfway. And there we go, the 60% slow you were talking about means Chieftain is just in no man's land. He's not able to get away, neither is Leona. They both fall after that little bit of poke. It just sets everything up for BLG. The GA for Forge is only going to delay the inevitable as he tries to jump in up on top of the Dragon Pit. But BLG, they've got a TP on Kingen. They can just go and end the game.
And you can't outscale a game plank, and that was such a cool play by Kingen because he was able, I believe he took down Chieftain just with something like a corruption power. It was kind of a DOT tick that I saw.
iBoy trying his best. He will eventually get away, dodging as much as he possibly can, but those chains are very, very long, and they will catch you out at all times. Cube, nowhere really he can go apart from his own fountain, excuse me, as BLG will eventually take the series 2-1.
Really good find coming in from BLG, and both times that they leapfrogged ahead was because of playing around terrain. They forced people to check into them onto ramps and were able to punish with that game plank ultimate. Honestly, they dodged a bullet with this one because Vici, a lot of it was self-inflicted. They didn't need to do the chase that Forge did, but unfortunately, that's what you're going to get with a lot of rookies joining this new squad. I still see a lot of potential in this team. They played well above the Vici of 2019.
Absolutely. They can hold their heads up high knowing that they, after game 1, made it competitive. That's the probably best way I can put it. Winning game 2, which realistically they didn't really have any right to win, and overall pushing BLG to that 3rd and final game. And I gotta say, for BLG, a couple of small things to work on. Definitely gotta, pick up on the kind of small little things from Kingen, but overall, Fofo, great debut for him. Yeah,
I think we're gonna see that Fofo is going to be a suitable new direction for BLG. We were outlining this at the start of this series that the real decider was, is Kuro's impact still going to be sorely missed by BLG, or are they going to be able to hold on to and head on to a new direction with Fofo and Meteor at the helm? It looks like an early game aggressive pick for Fofo and a strong ganking jungler coming in from Meteor is going to be the new face of this franchise.
BLG take that first step towards playoffs, towards the end of season. They will not see Vici until at the very minimum then, but even then they both have to make it to playoffs. And for Vici, they held their heads up high, they gave a fight, still a lot for them to work on, and definitely a lot of things for Koma to try and improve.
These games, even though they're before Chinese New Year and a lot of teams are still gelling together, they matter when it comes down to playoff. We had 9th to 5th place, just 1 game difference away in the summer split. So every single one of these count, and just looking at the damage graph, wow, Kingen really did a number onto Vici.
The number was specifically 23,865. That was the number he did onto Vici, but